Hey Ben, how are you? It's Mike. I just wanted to take a look at your game with Mark from the tournament. Yeah, both of the games that you lost on Sunday, you really should have won. I'm going to ask you to go over the second one if you have time on your own. I'm not sure if you lost to Mark first or the one with the Evans Gambit. But I can show you a little bit on the screen here and then try to do a little bit on your own. With Mark, just quickly, I want to point out a couple of tactics that you missed. Because you played the opening just fine, the center counter that he plays, you develop your knight with a tempo, right? This is all standard stuff. Bishop c4, great. I'm not crazy about the way Mark plays this by putting his knight on c6, because a lot of center counter players, one of the main lines is to put a pawn there. I know it looks like you're not developing, but it does give the queen a chance to get back in here in case she gets attacked. If you play knight c6, you'll see the queen sometimes can get stuck. Like if you put a bishop on this line or something, she has to be very careful. You played a good move. You played knight f3. He pinned you. And here already I want to point out to you, always look for tactics, especially in positions when you see loose pieces like this. In this position, ask yourself a very simple question. Why can't you take his bishop with your queen? I know the answer is your knight's in the way, but I want you to look at this tactic, bishop takes f7 check. It doesn't work in this position because if you took it right now and the king took back, you have this cool idea, knight g5, which you'll notice is check, and at the same time you get to hit the bishop. In this particular position it doesn't work because Mark can simply take your knight with his queen, and his queen protects your bishop, and you're down a bunch of material. But let's go back for a minute. I just want you to imagine something blocking the queen's view, and if she couldn't get over to the g5 square, that tactic would be in the air, okay? So right now you played a fine move. You castled your king, and he played e5. And there it goes, already on move 6. On move 6, he has a losing position. I know it's hard to believe, but yeah, he is a losing position. If you would have found bishop f7, and listen, man, I know it's not easy to find. The good news is these tactics are coming from your games, but the bad news is you have to kind of put a little more time in so that you see these tricks. If the king takes the bishop, which is really his best move, now you have knight g5, and you'll notice the queen can't get over here and take that knight. And even if his king attacks it, it's not going to help because after queen takes, the queen defends the knight. Now, in terms of material, you're only up a pawn here, but it's really more because look where his king is. I mean, this is really terrible for Mark. I don't think he'd be able to get away with this. But you didn't see it, or did he? So you played d4, which is a good idea. And I think in this position he should just castle long, which would kind of pin your pawn to the queen. And you'll see here, the strength of that rook up there. And now with the black king kind of safe up on c8, I think he'd be doing okay, right? So instead, after bishop d6, that tactic is still in the air. You can just bishop takes f7, and you have the same trick, and you're probably winning. You took a pawn, though, in the middle. And again, that makes sense because you do want to open up lines with his king there. The only problem is when he takes back with his knight, he's putting an awful lot of pressure on this point right here, and he's really threatening to open you up. You played rook e1 thinking that, that would help matters, but you missed the fact that he could just castle, getting out of the pin here and also creating tactics of his own because his rook and your queen all of a sudden line up, right? So let's go back after knight e5. I think you needed to, I know it's terrible and it feels really bad, but I think you needed to retreat your bishop to e2 to cover up and support that point. Now if you ask, do you have the same tactic we had before up here, the answer is no. Because, here, after knight e5 and pawn takes, the question is, do you have the same tactic up on here? And the answer is no, because he can just take back with the king or the knight, and you don't have your trick. You don't have check. You just lose a piece, right? So after rook e1, Mark plays a really good move. He just castles. So by breaking that pin, you need to be really, really careful about the upcoming combination, which he missed. Now in chess, the word combination, Ben, means when you kind of have a sequence or a set of moves. I don't have your vocabulary book in front of me, so I don't know if you know the word sequence or not, but it's kind of like a step-by-step move order in chess that kind of accomplishes something. And here, my question would be, if this knight could move, this bishop could take this pawn on h2, check, followed by rook takes queen. Do you see that combination? Yeah, he had it here. You played bishop to e2, and I think what he missed was knight f3 check, and you're in big trouble because you might as well take back because you're going to be down a piece, right? When you take back, or before you take back, I just want to show you the highlights, how all his pieces open up. So if you take with the bishop, he's completed step one, he got the knight out of the way. He takes on h2 check, your king takes, and now a very important moment. It's absolutely important that black finds the right move here to finish the combination. It is not rook takes queen. Believe it or not, after rook takes queen, I think white is actually a little bit better here because they have this in-between move. Bishop takes g4 check. You know, they can try to block your bishop with the pawn, and then you just swoop down here and grab the rook. And if you count the material, black is behind a little bit, I believe, but white is fine here. You have a lot of pieces to play with for your queen, and you know, you would be okay here. However, let's go back and look at this a little deeper. After bishop takes check and king takes, he has this beautiful in-between move, queen h5 check, and you're in big trouble because the queen protects this bishop, and now when you move your king out of check, he picks off your queen, and you don't have this in-between move because he just takes back with his queen, and you're down material here. Probably winning here at your level. I think this is winning for black. Okay, but he missed it. After bishop e2, he started to make trades, but he took the wrong way. He took with the bishop first, and by taking with the bishop, that gave you a chance to take back. And now his trick doesn't work because if his knight takes, you simply take back with the queen and you get off this line, right? Okay, so he brings a piece into the game. You do the same, and this all looks pretty good. And now maybe another mistake. I think maybe he saw your rating and he was interested in making a draw with you because he started to set up a whole bunch of trades. But I think that last trade helped you a little bit. Your rooks got connected. He brought an h-rook over. And here in your notation it said rook c1. And I have a feeling you played rook d1 because rook c1 really doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know what the rook's doing there. But so I put it in for the video, but I have a feeling you put it here. But it doesn't matter for the way the game continued. Mark just continues to trade with you at every opportunity. And when all this smoke clears, I think you come out okay. Now pay very close attention to this position. He loses the game in one move, and then so do you. When he played knight to d5, you missed a winning move here. What you did is you took his knight with your knight, and you simply missed, can you see it? Yeah, you missed queen takes rook mate. So you got mated in one move, and that's a blunder below your level, so we have to clean those up, okay? No more of those. The other game you lost, you did the same thing. You took a knight with a knight and got mated on h7. I think I'll show you that if I get a chance here. But let's go back. Remember when Mark played knight d5? You win the game if you find this check. Remember, look for every check, every capture. He has two ways to get out of check. If he plays rook d7, he gets mated in one move because his rook is pinned. So he has to play king b8, and now you just take the knight. But please, not with your knight. You don't want to get mated. You simply take it with your queen. And I know that looks totally bizarre, but what does he do? If he takes with the rook, that's not going to work. It's mate in two, right? I'm sure you can see that. You just check. He has to block, and game is finished, right? That's not going to work for him. So when you take it, he has to take with the queen because his rook and queen are both hanging. And when he does, you just simply take back with the knight, and guess what, man? He can't take you, because if he takes you, you're going to mate him. So you're going to play this position 6 pawns against 6 pawns with an extra knight, and that is totally winning, right? Okay, so it's a shame that you missed that. Let me just take you quickly to this position. I'll turn the board around. This is your position, the other game that you lost, and I'm speeding this up a little bit. But here in this position, your opponent played knight g5, and you were up a bunch of pawns earlier, but even here you're okay. You just need to cover this up. When he plays knight g5, you have to see that the queen here and the knight are both converging. We use that word, right, on h7. And you need to cover up that line. Maybe play a move like knight g6, and that'll keep you safe for a while. But you made a similar mistake that you made with Mark, and you just took his knight here, and you lost in one move. He just took the pawn and mated you. Okay, so the bad news is you definitely blundered below your level. The good news is you got winning positions in every one of your games. Okay, so how do we fix that? You just have to be sharper when you're playing. The best way to do that, keep watching those videos and solve tactical puzzles. The more puzzles you solve, the less chance there is that you'll miss things the way you did in these games. Okay, all right, young man, have a great summer, and I'll talk to you soon.